welcome back to the Foundry by Forge College. Today, we're literally bringing our grand architectural plans to life. In our last lesson, we tackled managing contract dependencies, making sure all those external parts fit securely together. Well, now we're advancing deeper into our Building dApps on Solana track, specifically diving into the Introduction to Solana Testing Frameworks module. Today's explainer, it's all about testing processes and integration basics. We are finally moving from abstract concepts into the rigorous but highly rewarding world of building repeatable testing workflows for your Solana dApps. Here is our engineering blueprint for today. 1. Introduction to testing basics. 2. The 4 test phases. 3. Building a minimal test. 4. Harness versus local validator. 5. Reading the output. And finally, 6. Conclusion and next steps. Let's jump right in. I really want you to take a second and let this sink in because it is fundamentally true. Untested smart contracts are the most expensive fireworks display you'll ever build. Seriously, look, we all love writing code, right? It's thrilling. But deploying without testing on Solana is a fantastic way to accidentally burn all your lamports. So before we light the fuse, let's make sure our machine actually works. Section 1. Introduction to Testing Basics. Knowing your testing tools in an abstract way is fine, but constructing concrete, repeatable workflows is what actually turns that knowledge into a valid, working Solana program. Our main goal here is to transition from just knowing about test runners to actually writing runnable checks. We want to verify our on-chain state changes safely in a controlled environment, create validation workflows we can run over and over, and absolutely crucial here, when things break, and trust me, they will break, we need to map those test failures right back to the specific lines of our program code. Section 2. The 4 test phases. Every well-oiled machine operates in stages, and the Solana testing lifecycle is essentially a reliable 4-stroke engine. Our 4 mechanical strokes are setup, arrange, act, and assert. Now, if you've done standard unit testing in Web 2, these are probably going to sound pretty familiar, but here is the kicker. Unlike standard unit tests, Solana requires specific on-chain heavy lifting at every single step. You aren't just mocking up some dummy data, you're actually creating public keypairs, allocating space, and funding accounts with lamports just to get off the starting line. Looking at this schematic, you can see how those Solana-specific quirks explicitly map to these 4 distinct phases of our assembly line. During setup, you're loading the program and creating accounts using tools like ProgramTest and keypair. In arrange, you serialize your account data. Act is where the fireworks happen, safely this time, as you build, sign, and submit your transaction using Bank's client. And finally, you assert by fetching that account data back to ensure your logic did exactly what it was supposed to do. Section 3. Building a minimal test. All right, time to get our hands dirty. To spin up our testing environment quickly, we're going to use ProgramTest. I want you to think of ProgramTest as a simulated runtime wind tunnel for our code. It operates in process, it is lightning fast, and it's absolutely perfect for unit-level logic checks during your local development. But once our wind tunnel is running, we need a way to interact with it, right? That's where Bank's client comes in. We use Bank's client to dispatch our meticulously signed transactions straight into the simulation. It is the literal mechanism that fires our instructions into the ProgramTest environment. So let's see how this actually flows in Rust. In the setup phase of our prototype, we first boot the simulated runtime by starting the harness. Then we generate our keypairs for the accounts we need. Because this is Solana, we can't just create an account out of thin air for free. We actually have to fetch the current rent requirements and calculate the exact rent-exempt lamports needed based on the precise byte size of our data, which in this case is our counter account. Moving right along to arrange and act. Let's see how this builds. First, we construct our increment instruction. That's arranging our inputs. Then we act. We construct a brand new transaction, carefully sign it with our payer and counter key pairs, and finally blast it into the runtime using our Bank's client to process the transaction. Boom, the machine is officially in motion. Finally, the smoke clears and we hit the assert phase. We fetch the account data back from the simulation. Now remember, it comes back as raw bytes, so we have to deserialize it back into our counter struct. Once we do that, we can easily verify our logic. Did our counter successfully crank up to 1? A simple assert equals macro tells us instantly if our engine is purring along or sputtering out. Section 4. Harness versus local validator. So when should we use our fast wind tunnel versus a heavy-duty real-world test track? Well, ProgramTest, our wind tunnel, is lightning fast. You are going to use this all the time for everyday unit checks and fast continuous integration pipelines, but it doesn't emulate everything perfectly. When you are hunting down really complex, subtle bugs that only appear in a true cluster environment, you must graduate to the local validator, which gives you the full test track experience.
Section 5. Reading the output.
When your machine inevitably breaks down, you need to know how to read the diagnostic gauges. The real secret to debugging Solana programs is mapping your test failures back to the specific lifecycle phase. So if you get a rent or space error, you know instantly that your setup phase failed. You didn't fundersize the account right. If you get an instruction error, your preconditions in the act phase were violated. And if things just fail to deserialize entirely, you've got a serialization bug happening during your arrange or assert phases. This mental mapping will literally save you hours of endless troubleshooting.
Now, to make reading these errors infinitely easier, I highly recommend leaving a breadcrumb trail. Always instrument your smart contract code with the message macro. It emits concise logs directly into your validator output. When a transaction fails, these little messages tell you exactly which critical branch of your logic the execution reached right before it crashed. It's a total lifesaver.
Section 6. Conclusion and next steps. All right, let's wrap up our blueprint and sign off on this inspection. Here's what you should take away from today's explainer. Treat those 4 phases, setup, arrange, act, and assert, as your ultimate diagnostic map. Lean heavily on the super-fast ProgramTest harness for quick, iterative feedback while you code. But don't hesitate to escalate to the full local validator when things get complicated. And please instrument your tests and code with clear logs. This structured, disciplined approach to testing is a core philosophy echoed across many developer programs and learning tracks at Forge College. I want to leave you with this golden rule of engineering. Test one behavior per test. Keep your tests small, focused, and laser-targeted on a single expectation. If a test fails, you want to know immediately which specific cog in your engine snapped, rather than trying to untangle some massive multi-step integration test. Keep it simple. So, I have to ask, is your DEP machine ready for the test track? Now that you have the blueprints to build, run, and debug minimal on-chain tests, it is time to put it into practice. I highly encourage you to visit Forge Gods College to learn more about this subject, dive into our hands-on tutorials, and explore a wide variety of other fascinating Web3-related topics. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy building.